Hello there, this one is called The Nature of Reality. For the last couple of years I've been hosting retreats and that's been the title, it's been the main theme. However, we're now in 2024 and suddenly things are moving on. But it goes all the way back to the 20th century, in fact to the 1970s. There was a book that was produced called A Course in Miracles, and that had a huge effect on people in the latter half of the 20th century in the alternative community. And there was an expression, a buzzword, a meme if you like, and it is, you create your own reality. That couples with a meme from a couple of decades later by a guy called Robert Anton Wilson, and he wrote in his book The Cosmic Trigger, the thinker thinks, the prover proves. All this is saying that we have so much more ultimate power than we realize as human beings. And we literally do create our own reality. There's a great deep spiritual truth in that. And yet the experience every day of being human is having a mind which pours all sorts of thoughts into the awareness, and it's up to us. We can either hold on to those thoughts or we can let them go. And it's a matter of having the discrimination about which it is that we do. Tied up to all this, there is a guy who's got a relatively new YouTube channel, and I'm going to put links to a couple of his films in the description, so please do have a look. This guy is described as being a 33rd degree Mason. Now think about Masons as they don't talk about what they do. It is supposedly a secret society, and it was up until a certain point. That's no longer the case. There are people that used to be members of that particular organization who are sharing with the world some of the things that used to be secrets, which we can now call open secrets. And it's to do with the power of the mind in creating our own reality. And the second of the two films is about imagination. And in conventional everyday life, imagination is seen definitely in different ways. For example, a child can come up to an adult and say something, and the adult looks at the child and in a fit of awful judgment says, "Oh, you're just making up stories again, aren't you?" In other words, that person's, what they've just said has been trashed. Right to the opposite extreme, where all shamans know that our greatest gift is our imagination. It's a very interesting word, imagination, if you break it down. Here's the idea. The idea is, play with this one, the English language is an esoteric language full of hidden truths. So imagination is I, and then mage, M-A-G-E, so you've got I, mage, and then you've got in. If you add one letter to the last bit of the word Asian and put the letter C in there, it becomes action. So suddenly it's I, mage, in action. A mage is a magician. In other words, I'm a magician and I am in action. That's actually what imagination means. So anyone who does shamanic training, this is one of the very first things they discover, is the power of their active imagination. And this year, for the very first time ever, I've been given permission by the guides and helpers to share something which I've only ever shared with people who are training previously, up until today. And I'm going to put that film out as well, and it's called Journey of Lifetimes. Now that film shows just how far you can take imagination. No, that's not strictly true. It gives you the beginnings of a taste of just how vast the subject is. So here's the idea. When we work consciously and creatively with our active imaginations, we have the ability to bring all sorts into existence. And certainly people have used this in a harm for ill, there's no doubt about that. Black magicians have used their active imagination to create hell on earth in their own different ways. And those who are shamanic practitioners who've dedicated their lives and their soul's purposes healing and being the change that the world has been waiting for, we are able to work with our active imaginations to create new realities, which brings us back to the title of the nature of reality. So here's my hypothesis. My hypothesis is as follows. Since the 21st of December 2012, the nature of reality has become a lot more plastic, flexible, malleable. Since 2020, there's been another shift in this plasticity, which is why in 2021, when I started to rehost my retreats, they were called the nature of reality. But we've just gone through something really extraordinary and remarkable and miraculous. We've just had the winter solstice in December 2023. Here we are now in 2024, and there is a very different energy around, which is permeating all of our existences, and it's the preparation for what is coming. Astrologically, let's just go into astrology mode for a moment. What's been happening is that Pluto has been moving in and out of Aquarius, so in and out of Capricorn and Aquarius, into Aquarius, back into Capricorn, into Aquarius, back into Capricorn. It's been doing this over and over again. However, this month, later in January, finally, Pluto is going to go into Aquarius and stay there for a considerable period of time. Something around the region of 20 years, so approximately the next 20 years, the influence of Pluto, which represents many things, but one of the things Pluto represents, and Cleopatra is the one that got me in touch with this, Pluto represents the soul. Pluto represents what is hidden, what we're not generally aware of, which is why it's so appropriate that this guy, who is perhaps described as a 33rd degree Mason, has chosen to share information in the way he's doing so. It's completely in harmony with Pluto moving from Capricorn into Aquarius. Aquarius is the bigger picture. Aquarius is for the benefit of humanity. Aquarius is linking in with the ley lines, with the heart centre of the world, which is Glastonbury Tor. That's its exact location. We are living in incredibly exciting times. So when people come together and they open their hearts, whether they're singing, dancing, meditating, working together as shamans, whatever it is that they're doing, the energy is so much more plastic, so much more malleable, which means we are being able to access our full powers of our minds more than we've ever been able to do before. And one of the things I've noticed about people in Glastonbury, there's a huge number of people in Glastonbury that chant mantras. And indeed at the very last dance church, which was only yesterday, the last two tracks of the extraordinary set of music we were taken through, which gave us the most wonderful dances, they're both mantras. And we did finish our sharing circle with the Om mantra, which is the sound, which is what created the universe. There was no universe. The universe came into existence. It came into existence according to the Vedics, and the Vedic civilization's got a 25,000 year pedigree, so it's worth contemplating. If the Vedic civilization's got anything to say, well, it's worth looking at, because we're not talking about something that's been around for a few hundred years. We're talking about something with a 25,000 year history. That's what they say. They say that the sound of the Om is the sound that created the universe. And indeed, if you go into the Bible, Gospel according to St. John, I believe it is, in the beginning was the Word. The Word, the sound, we're talking about the same thing. So I feel it's only appropriate to end this particular film with a simple Om. Here we go. All love to you. Let's see what we can do in 2024. Let's have some fun, shall we? Let's be super creative.